I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to Camnet TV Main News, the headlines. Value addition prompts a Zambian firm to start extracting cooking oil from maize. Green Party asks President HH to pardon prisoners facing cannabis-related offences. Government urged to invest 1 billion kwacha in road safety. In international news, Thomas Sankara murder trial fundamental to come to terms with what happened. And in sports, Zambia under-20 women's coach targets FIFA Women's World Cup qualification. Join me with the main news in detail after this commercial.
Are you a small to medium enterprise looking to advertise your products and services within your community and across Zambia? In these economic times, we are here to help you grow your business. Advertise with us on Camnet Market. Camnet Market is offering lower rates for prime time advertising between 06 to 18 hours every day to give your business an edge under the new normal and beyond. For more details, contact us on the following numbers: 097 975 3010 or 096 296 5883, as well as 096 244 726. You can also reach us via email on info@camnettvafrica.com. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
And now the news in detail. Zambia Road Safety Trust Chairman Daniel Mwamba has called on government And now the news in detail. Zambia Road Safety Trust Chairman Daniel Mwamba has called on government to consider investing up to 1 billion kwacha in road safety to reduce the number of accidents being recorded in the country. This call comes after 9 deaths have been recorded in a road traffic accident that happened on the evening of the 9th October 2021 along Great North Road at Chingwere Tenof area in Lusaka, involving 3 vehicles. Statistics from the Zambia police show that the country has lost 937 lives in the first and second quarter alone from traffic accidents, mainly caused by excessive speeding.
The road traffic accident RTA that occurred on 9th October 2021 along Great North Road at Chingwere Tenof area in Lusaka has left many Zambians shaken, as RTAs caused by excessive speeding continue to be on the rise, despite authorities cautioning against this vice and punishing perpetrators so as to deter would-be offenders. Zambia police spokesperson Mr. Ray Hamonga, in a statement, explained that the accident occurred when the driver of a truck swerved to the right side lane to avoid colliding with the hearse that had wrongfully changed lanes, and in the process lost control of the truck, crossing to the opposite lane, thereby colliding with the Rosa bus. In another statement released Monday, Mr. Hamonga states that the driver of the truck, who was on the run, has been apprehended. The police spokesperson further adds that 1 more death has been recorded, bringing the total number of deaths to 10. Zambian Road Safety Trust Chairman Mr. Daniel Mwamba has called for more funding to road safety, stating that the number of RTAs is disheartening. Records from the Zambia police show that a total of 937 deaths were recorded in the first and second quarter of 2021 from RTAs, mainly due to excessive speeding.
The investment in road safety, even less than 1 billion, can save numerous lives. In terms of the accidents that happened 2 days ago, which there's been some investigation that there was an element of overspeeding by the drivers. We know for sure with the data that overspeeding is one of the major causes of road traffic accidents. And we don't have strong measures in place that can stop this. We have the police using these speed traps cameras, which are mobile speeds, and then we had drugs at one time implemented the speed cameras. All these things haven't worked.
Mr. Mwamba further adds that while the removal of some roadblocks was done with good intentions, there is need to rethink this stance, stating that many drivers are becoming difficult to monitor.
The removal of roadblocks has caused Of course, the rationale behind the moving of roadblocks is that there was so much corruption, which everybody knows about from the Zambia police. But this should not be an excuse that will allow innocent people to die. So they should come up with serious measures. And we, as an NGO, with the expertise, and we can provide necessary support to ensure that we use all other means necessary to save lives.
Meanwhile, the Zambia Road Safety Trust has launched the first ever 3D zebra crossing along Independence Avenue in Lusaka in conjunction with the Lusaka City Council LCC, aimed at testing the observance of motorists in a bid to safeguard pedestrians. Zipora Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Former Minister of Labour and Social Security under the Movement for Multi-Party Democracy administration, Austin Liato, says the United Party for National Development Alliance administration needs a minimum of 1 year before their performance in the office can be assessed. Mr. Liato says it is impossible to achieve anything substantial in a period of 2 months. Addressing members of the media Monday, Mr. Liato states that if stakeholders are genuine in their checks and balances, they should at least wait for a minimum of 1 year to allow budgeting and implementation in order to assess the performance of the new administration. The former Minister of Labour and Social Security has also expressed happiness in the restoration of the rule of law in the country.
I'm emphasizing again that you have to do a minimum, in most cases, of a year to be examined so that we see how your performance is in a particular calendar. What that means is that you cannot do anything in 2 months, in 1 month. It's not possible. We will not be able to achieve what must be achieved if we're going to be impatient. We have to accept that the current government must do the needful budgeting for their first year of office. Let them do their budgeting. Let them do their implementation of the programs that must be carried on in the given period of maybe like a year. Let us see how the social services are delivered to our people. Let us not forget that we come from a situation in the last 10 years where marketeers, even if they did not have money, were being overtaxed, even when they had some very little meager to share with their families in the poor homes. That is why it's important, in most cases, to have a situation where a head of state takes an opportunity to remind Zambians where things are lacking, where things are being ignored, to remind each other, to show the direction. And this is what we've begun to see from President HH. This spirit must be encouraged, and we salute him for already showing that we are going back to doing the right things.
Meanwhile, 3 young people undertaking an awareness walk from Lundazi district in the Eastern Province to Lusaka Province have reached Luangwa district to engage citizens on the need to give President Hakainde Hichilema enough time to fulfill his campaign promises. The 3 are Harrison Banda, Suzio Nyerenda, and Breminga Ngoma, who have pleaded with citizens to exercise patience as development cannot take place overnight. They started their journey on the 28th of September 2021.
For others, it is about politics to capitalize on the ignorance of some people, but for governance activists, it is a question of logic, with the understanding that recovering a nation that has been going through worst scenarios like the high inflation rate and debt amounting to over $14 billion cannot be done in 2 months. 3 Lundazi-based youths, Harrison Banda, Suzio Nyerenda and Bremina Ngona, have made it their agenda to walk from Lundazi to Lusaka to appeal to citizens to exercise patience as President Hakainde Hichilema delivers his development pledges. They are currently in Luangwa district engaging the people.
The president wangachape pampando in less than 2 months. And that is the reason why kuona is my youths, we are concerned youths, kuona kuti wa president tizawachita defendi bwanji. Va president tizawa kambira bwanji. Zambia ni ikulu. That is why we decided to embark on a journey kuchokera kulundazi, tienda kulusaka, kukamba na bantu pleading with the people. Kuti wapase va president haka inde hichilema time. Chifukwa kulipe mundu wamene anga achite vonse muri just within these few days.
Ngona has implored people not to be swayed by what he refers to unconstructive criticism by some political players.
Ni 5 years term moment is a general election term your president. This is 5 years. Now mu 2 months can we expect to go to our president and deliver government ifuna? That is why tipe batagwada mmendo mwanu wapano palo ngapanyangu. Tell my president tend to pass time bashite vindu mundondomeko. Not to atamangise, let's not criticize him. Let us not fight and attack him.
The message has reached the people of Luangwa, and Nyango village head woman Lucy Tembo shared her thoughts.
Then muyembekezera mvula irokwe, then ikalokwa ikamera vikakula mukakolo. So pali pano na wonse mowakambira oyembekezera chitukuko kuti chibwere.
Luangwa Market Chairperson Zax Piri explains that development is a process that cannot be attained overnight.
Yembekezera lichambe kuti chibwera. Singabwere monga kuti mama chiki kuti pamene apo chabwera koma president bana 2 months pachadi mu office. So manje apa chitukuko chibwera. Already monga kuchokera pali ponse pali Zambia tuona monga kuti tatenga independence ya number 2 pamene tikondwerera vintu pamene pachinjira.
For now, it seems the New Dawn government certainly has to continue to absorb the pressure. Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
Green Party President Peter Sinkamba has called on President Hakainde Hichilema to consider pardoning the over 7,000 prisoners charged with offences related to cannabis. The Green Party president says cannabis offences are typically victimless offences that do not involve any victims, as is the case with murder or manslaughter. Meanwhile, Mr. Sinkamba has appealed to the government to expedite the process of enacting the remaining pieces of registration to enable the cultivation of cannabis for medicinal and industrial purposes. He says the cultivation of cannabis is a solution needed for the dismantling of debt, which he says is now confirmed to be at $15 billion United States dollars.
The government to hasten the process of enacting the remaining pieces of legislation to enable the cultivation of cannabis for medicinal and industrial purposes to take off, specifically the seed regulations, the marketing regulations, and the action plan for the implementation of the program. Because really, we're looking at the debt situation, which is now been confirmed at $15 billion. We have to move very quickly to see how we can dismantle that debt. And truly, the medicinal cannabis agenda is the one which is likely to assist this country move forward in a more progressive manner. And also, as we are about to celebrate our independence, which is due in the next few days, we want to appeal to the president to consider releasing from prison, to pardon all those 7,000 plus prisoners who are there because of cannabis-related laws. You know, the prison today is full. Almost a third of the prison population is because of the cannabis offences.
United Party for National Development Kaumbe constituency candidate SANKARA is confident of scooping the seat during the forthcoming October 21st, 2021 parliamentary election. The UPND candidate for Kaumbe cited the overwhelming support the party has received so far as a clear indication that it will emerge victorious in the election. Ms. Sakala says people of Kaumbe have seen that the UPND is the only party that can alleviate poverty levels in the area because of its good strategies as witnessed in the fight against corruption in the few months the party has been in power. Meanwhile, All People's Congress Party President Nason Msoni has appealed to the people of Eastern Province to support the rally behind President Hakainde Hichilema if development is to be attained in all parts of the country. He says on 12th August, the people of Zambia demonstrated their will and ushered in a new dawn government. Mr. Msoni made these remarks in Mtukuzi village of Chiefness Mwanjawantu in Kaumbe district when he came to drum up people for UPND candidate SANKARA.
I'm very confident of winning the Kaumbe seat. The ground is fertile. I think people are tired. Since 1964, there's never been a female candidate that has stood in Kaumbe. All the candidates and all MP representatives have been male, and I think it's a fresh breath of air for Kaumbe. Right now, Kaumbe has been rated the least performing constituency out of 156 constituencies. So my role will be to make sure, to ensure a lot of the problems that are being faced in Kaumbe, which are water, hospitals, schools, are sorted out.
Therefore, we appeal to our friends, our people in Kaumbe to embrace the hands of the President's developmental agenda to ensure that he delivers what he promised Zambians in good time. Resisting development, resisting progress, politics of development will not make any matters easy for our brothers and sisters here in Kaumbe. So our appeal to our people here in Kaumbe is that join hands with the rest of this country in pursuing politics of development.
Very well. So the people of Kaumbe, Eastern Province as a whole, should be definitely passionate about this whole thing to work with the government of the day. The president that we have now is a very serious president with his work. When it comes to his work, he's very passionate with developing every nook and corner of this country called Zambia.
In a quest to stir value addition in the country, a Zambian entrepreneur has embarked on a milestone project of producing cooking oil from maize in line with the government's commitment to encourage value addition. Midland Zammo Petroleum Chief Executive Officer Charles Mvula says the initiative will help farmers benefit by earning more from their produce. Mr. Mvula explains that they will be buying a 50-kilogram bag of maize at 200 kwacha compared to the 150 kwacha being offered by the Food Reserve Agency. He has since called on the government through various ministries to come on board and support the initiative through partnership to deliver on the job creation agenda in the country.
Maize is Zambia's staple food, but for years, value addition has only been limited to mealie meal production for nshima, which is a daily meal in Zambian households. Maize is produced in huge quantities. This year is no exception. However, some maize ended up going to waste as the Food Reserve Agency cannot afford to buy everything. However, an edible oil processing company, Midland Zambia Malawi Petroleum, has started making cooking oil and maize cake out of maize. Company Chief Executive Officer Charles Mvula believes this is a sure way of empowering farmers and citizens in general.
We are going to be extracting cooking oil from maize. That is strange, but it will really have an impact on the Zambian market. Because one, will create jobs for the outgrowers And two, even the old people in the villages, they'll still have money because they will have to sell the maize to mid-oils under Midlands Petroleum, Midlands Zama Petroleum oils. The outgrowers and other people, not only outgrowers, they will be selling to us, then us will be processing at added value. Then
he has expressed willingness to work with the New Dawn government to help create employment for young people and women by replicating the cooking oil units in all the 10 provinces if the government comes on board.
It's up to the government to come through because them as they will initiate, they'll take time. Because in initiating, the people that they will assign, they may not have passion. But here is a company that has got passion already, that we can do this. Then it's the government say, how do we work together?
And Midlands Operations Manager Alexander Lungu tells Camnet News that the company will introduce an outgrower scheme targeting 10,000 farmers.
In the first 3 months, we are hoping to at least have 10,000 farmers across the country. Yes. Because we understand maize is easier to grow, so we want to encourage as many people to grow it, so that when we buy from them at 200 kwacha, they can use that money which they receive to create other businesses, meaning we are indirectly creating jobs towards that.
This news comes as a great surprise to farmers.
Pasa mpamvu yolima chifukwa mukaganizira kwambiri muzapeza kuti mumakomboni mwambiri mumanyumba mafamu mwambiri milisi kalimo haifare baragula milisi ngono kwambiri koma bakamba kuti pamene Sankara mugulu yawo ngati talima bazamba kugula libeve futi ndipo nso mtengo wa bazamba kugulira hapo bakamba kuti bazamba kugula 200 bazakula hapo bali utamene bazamba kugula ba FRA tantauza kuti mitandizo lali kulu kwambiri.
Chipata District Farmers Association Coordinator Vigil Malambo has held the firm for taking a proactive role to promote value addition to maize.
This is a very exciting development which we have always been desiring to have. You know, value addition is very critical in the agriculture sector because one, it helps to provide a market for the farmers. Then secondly, it also creates job opportunities for the youths and the women.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
Center for Young Leaders in Africa has charged that Zambia no longer requires the service of Lazard Frères, a French international advisor contracted by the Patriotic Front government to help restructure the debt situation. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News, Center Executive Director Mulunga Shimbela says the new administration has appointed competent leaders who will see to it that the country gets an International Monetary Fund (IMF) presence, which he says will restore the dignity of the country to the international community. Mr. Shimbela says the presence of the IMF will be enough to build confidence in the state and adds that it is not necessary to continue paying huge sums of money to a financial advisor. Cabinet had in June 2020 approved the engagement of Lazard Frères of France as financial advisors and Messrs. White and Case of the United States of America as a legal advisors to Zambia in order to help with the management of the accumulated external debt, which stood at over $11 billion.
I believe that we've elected ourselves competent politicians, and these competent politicians will give us competent people in the Ministry of Finance, and then using the political will that the doctor spoke to, we should be able to go to the International Monetary Fund and carve out a package for our citizens. And it is that package that will give us the credibility to be able to go out to the market and deal with each and every lender that we've gotten money from, without us having to waste $5 million in paying a consultant who's going to do the lobbying and bidding for us to launder our name. We should be able to clean our own name, and I think so to that effect we don't need Lazard.
Mines Minister Paul Kabuswe has implored management of Kansashi Mine in Northwestern Province to prioritize working with Zambian local suppliers and contractors. Speaking when he toured the mine Monday morning, the minister says his office has received numerous complaints from local suppliers and contractors that most big deals are awarded to foreign companies sidelining the local businesses. The minister has since assured local businesses of a corrupt-free public and private sector which will see to it that integrity is restored in the way business is conducted in the country.
Located nearly 10 kilometers north of Solwezi town and 180 kilometers northwest of the copper belt town of Chingola, Kansashi mine in Zambia is the 8th largest copper mine in the world with 2 open pits. The mine does not only produce copper but is also home to one of the world's most important metal, which is gold. And Minister of Mines and Mineral Development Paul Kabuswe Monday toured the mine to understand its operations and performance. And speaking when he addressed the mine's management, the minister says he has been receiving numerous complaints from the local suppliers and contractors, citing that big mining contracts are awarded to foreign contractors sidelining the local businesses.
There are a lot of complaints, MG, that are coming from suppliers and contractors that they are not given preference, that most of the bigger jobs are going actually to companies that are not Zambia based. Those are complaints I'm receiving, so I wanted to bring them to the table because I know that these issues, when they rise, we can be able to sit around the table and discuss.
The minister has also applauded the mine for the social corporate responsibilities it has been undertaking in Solwezi Township, but wants the mine to do even more.
One thing that I want to tell the Zambian suppliers and contractors is that as the new Dawn government, we want to promote a corrupt-free public and private sector. We want to make sure there is integrity in the way that we do business. I want to emphasize the fact that as you do your business, make sure Zambians feel your presence. I know that you've been doing something which we appreciate so much, but it can even be done better. We want to give you an environment where your investment is flourishing, but at the same time, please, let's make sure that even the community where you are at reflects the kind of mine. I can see the pictures there, it looks good.
And Mines Managing Director has called on government to consider revising the current tax regime to provide breathing room for the mining sector.
Making sure that we've got stability. So running a mining company, mining is long-term business. And you need to know that if you invest that magnitude of money, that and the tax regime and everything around it is going to be stable over 10, 20 years. The second thing is making sure that the current system where the mineral royalties are on a sliding scale and also non-deductible to taxes, that's also resolved and addressed.
Zambia is a country that heavily depends on the mining sector for its resources. Ensuring that the resources generated from the mining sector benefits the local people remains key at developing the country. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
In other news, former Zambia Revenue Authority Commissioner Kingsley Chanda has urged his successor, Dingani Banda, to support taxpayers in the country and respond to their expectations. Speaking in his farewell speech, Mr. Chanda says taxpayers are the reason the authority exists and should be respected. Mr. Chanda had encouraged his successor to look after his staff well and not victimize them. The former ZRA commissioner says supporting staff will make it easy for the new boss to deliver according to the expectations of the Zambian people.
Look after your staff very well. Don't victimize them. Counsel them, motivate them, and ensure that you further improve their conditions of service. Of course, those that are truant and fraudulent, help them out following the due disciplinary process. Over my tenure, I've improved ZRA conditions of service tremendously, but please better them as much as you can. When you do this, staff will in turn support you and you deliver your mandate. The second tool of instrument I'm leaving you is systems. Please continue the digital agenda. Invest more in technology and simplify compliance requirements. Enhance our innovation center and our strategic partnership with the Copperbelt University. Here I have no doubt because this is your passion. The third instrument I'm leaving you is taxpayers. Harness them, support them, respond to expectations of our taxpayers and indeed other stakeholders. Respond to your parent ministry, to your donors, and other important stakeholders of this institution. Taxpayers are the reason ZRA exists. The fourth instrument of power I'm leaving you with is revenues, results, the bottom line. Make sure the other three instruments of power I've left you with help you to deliver the fourth one, revenues. Don't waste time on who likes you, who hates you, who said what when you are out of ZRA. That will drain you and result in negative energy. Forgive and forget. Focus on the bottom line. That is what the President will appreciate as a thank you to him for selecting you out of hundreds of capable Zambians.
Young Women Christian Association Executive Director Miriam Mwinga has told Camnet News that the digital gap between girls and boys must be addressed. In an interview with Camnet News, Ms. Mwinga has further called on government to enhance effort on resolving challenges that lead to a high number of dropout rates for girls, such as teenage pregnancies and early marriages. Zambia has joined the rest of the world in commemorating the International Day of the Girl Child, which falls on the 11th of October every year, aimed at focusing on the rights, safety and education of a girl child.
World over, girls are considered as disadvantaged in comparison to their male counterparts in all spheres of life, mainly due to social and cultural barriers. Zambia has joined the rest of the world in commemorating the International Day of the Girl Child, which is celebrated on 11th October of every year, dedicated to the growth of girls around the world. With this year's theme being on digital inclusion for girls, Young Women Christian Association YWCA Executive Director Ms. Miriam Mwinga notes that in comparison to boys, girls lack easy access to the internet and digital devices that aid in education and access to information. The school dropout rate is also higher among girls than boys due to teenage pregnancies and early marriages, problems which the organization says government should address.
We would like to see a situation where society looks at how we can bridge or how we can all come together to protect the rights of the girl child as well, as much as we are protecting the rights of the boy child. We do not want to leave them behind, but we are saying that we are looking at the numbers, who is much more affected. It is the girl child. So when also it comes to issues of, this time around, if you look at the theme for the International Day of the Girl Child, it's looking at issues of the digital generation. We find that the girls are left behind in accessing information because most of the information now is provided for digitally. Then you also find that when we're looking at digital inclusion and literacy, which opens up new avenues for learning, the girls remain behind again. Why? Because they have less access. They also do not have the necessary requisites to be able to have enough time to search for information using the different devices that are available.
Meanwhile, Save the Children International Advocacy and Campaigns Manager Mr. Malama Mwila states that the negative impact that COVID-19 has had on school-going girls depends on how the situation is handled.
We have conducted a rapid gender analysis in the past months from the time the first COVID-19 wave hit the country, and the evidence from that study showed that there's been a work overload in terms of households following the stay-home measures. Although schools have reopened now, the losses that children have experienced, especially the girl child, in terms of learning, have been at high levels, and we need to do more to address these losses.
The commemoration of the International Day of the Girl Child aims at upholding the rights, safety, and education of girls, among other issues affecting them. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
An audiologist specialist at the University Teaching Hospital has called on the members of the public to constantly screen their ears in order to avoid having an ear infection, mostly caused by bacteria such as Staphylococcus. In an interview with Camnet News, Precious Nyanga says the use of cotton buds to clean the ears must be properly applied, as this can contribute to wax accumulation in an individual's ear.
Zambia's population of 18 million is young and growing quickly. People are more likely to become deaf or hard of hearing at a younger age due to high rates of maternal infections, birth complications, childhood illnesses, and treatments and complications of TB, malaria, cancer, and HIV and AIDS. Poor living conditions lead to serious ear infections, and noisy industrial and military work takes its toll on hearing too. An audiology specialist at the University Teaching Hospital has called on the members of the public to consistently screen their ears in order to avoid having ear infections, mostly caused by bacteria.
Pushing the wax behind, which can make you have conductive hearing loss. So after putting the wax, someone will be able to hear very well. Then those who are found with hearing loss, those who are complaining of ear problems, not hearing well, they go in the trainer there where we check the levels of their hearing. Then we refer them to our clinic where we are going to go and do a comprehensive test. That test, they need hearing aids, we have hearing aids, different types of hearing aids, and we do other tests there the clinic.
Ms. Nyanga has since appealed to the members of the public to consider health facilities as places to clean their ears.
Cotton buds, usually on the paper, written not for internal use, for external use. Actually, it's supposed to be done by us, the health professionals who are trained in ear and health care. Because if you are using it wrongly, you can end up injuring your eardrum, end up with hearing loss, or end up with infections in the ear. So if you've got any problem, always consult your ear and hearing health care professional.
Extra earwax is not common, but if your ear canal is completely blocked, you should never attempt to clear out the wax on your own, as this could cause more damage. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
You're watching Camnet TV Main News. For now, we take our first set of commercials. We'll be back with more news after this.
In our quest to serve nations and develop Africa, Savenda is investing in the agriculture sector so as to produce supply for both local and international markets, housing over 12,000 pullets that are nurtured and fed with our locally made stock feed that comes from our own locally grown maize and soya beans, all processed from our recently installed milling and mixing plant. Our over 95,000 layers have an output capacity of over 1,500 trays of fresh eggs per day that are carefully selected and packaged for all the leading stores and supermarkets nationwide. Our greenhouses are fitted with the latest irrigation system, and the seedlings are nurtured to ensure only healthy plants reach the fields. With our deliberate planting schedule, we are better placed to supply constantly without interruption, thus reliable. Savenda Farms is also changing lives of its dedicated workforce drawn from the local community and beyond. So the next time you think fresh and green, think Savenda Farms.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes, and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
Tonight on National Matters, join Pastor Moses Chiluba as he hosts the EPP leader, Mr. Chilufya Tayali.
Let us be reasonable. You can be courageous, but speak sense. Speak what is practical, other than, talking things that cannot happen. Who are you entertaining?
Invite others to participate through phoning on Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp and text messages. Make a date with us. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Africa is rising to a new dawn of integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market? Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties on +260 762 166 018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
Welcome back. We continue with the rest of the main news. A state witness has testified before the Lusaka High Court that during the announcement of results for the Mandevu Area Member of Parliament winner at Mandevu Totaling Center, the returning officer from Electoral Commission of Zambia announced wrong results which caused commotion at the center. This is in a matter in which Mandevu losing UPND candidate Aaron Mulope is challenging the election of PF's Christopher Shakafuswa, seeking a nullification of the results, a recount among other things. Pamela Mukuka, who was an election observer for Mr. Aaron Mulope, told the court that the returning officer announced that Mr. Christopher Shakafuswa had 335 votes, while Mr. Mulope had 185 votes, which was contrary to their G20 reflected.
The hearing petition of Lusaka's Mandevu parliamentary election was on Monday morning quite peaceful and calm compared to the confusion that was witnessed last week Friday after one of the Patriotic Front cadres was beaten by UPND cadres who they had accused of murder.
This chapter is a criminal.
As the petition continues, the court this morning heard testimony from Pamela Mukuka, who was an election observer for Mandevu UPND losing candidate Aaron Mulope, that she filmed a video which showed confusion that occurred at Mandevu Totaling Center on the 14th of August 2021 during the announcement of results. The said video was this morning produced as evidence before court, testifying in a case where Mandevu losing UPND candidate Aaron Mulope is challenging the election of PF's Christopher Shakafuswa, seeking a nullification of the results, a recount among other claims. Mukuka explained that the confusion occurred after a returning officer from the Electoral Commission of Zambia announced results which were contrary to their G20. She narrated that the ECZ returning officer announced that Mr. Shakafuswa had obtained 335 votes and Mr. Mulope had obtained 185 votes, when in actual fact it was supposed to be the other way around. She reiterated during her testimony that PF cadres started beating people randomly after the confusion started and some ballot boxes were taken out of the center. Mr. Shakafuswa, who is the Mandevu Area Member of Parliament, obtained 56,527 votes, while Mr. Mulope obtained 37,644 votes in one of the most densely populated constituencies of Lusaka. In his petition, Mr. Mulope is alleging that the campaigns and the elections were characterized by violence and other illegal practices. The petition hearing continues before court. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
One of the tenants of the infamous 48 houses in Lusaka's Chalala area has refuted claims by the Anti-Corruption Commission that she has failed to pay rentals. This is in a case where the Anti-Corruption Commission has sued 4 tenants of the infamous 48 houses in Lusaka's Chalala area in the High Court for non-remittance of rentals. Harriet Chiaba has submitted before the court an affidavit in opposition to the affidavit in support of the originating notice of motion that she is not averse to paying rentals to the state and she is committed to doing so. The state that she wished to remain in the house as she believes that she will settle rentals when accorded the chance. SEC wants the court to issue an order that all tenants vacate from the property. SEC is further seeking an order for leave to issue a warrant of distress upon the goods of each tenant for recovery of the rent amount payable to the Anti-Corruption Commission in relation to the properties. A retired Zambia Army colonel says Zambia has the potential to grow its economy through the agriculture sector and has challenged maize and cassava growers in Zambia to grow more for local consumption following the installation of ethanol and biofuel plantation in Katuva farming area. Speaking during a media briefing in Lusaka, Colonel Patson Kafwimbi, who is also director for Surya Groups of Companies Limited, says Zambia has vast resources but needs mine transformation towards economic development. He says his company has the potential to produce over 10,000 liters of ethanol a day using locally produced materials such as cassava and maize, and has since challenged farmers to grow more maize and cassava for the production of the ethanol and other biofuel in the country.
With the vision of seeing that Zambia becomes a prosperous middle-income country by the year 2030, the call to revamp the manufacturing and production industry continues to be a daily call. Surya Group of Companies, through its directors, says it will ensure that it continues to contribute toward the development of this country by creating jobs for its locals.
We are very well placed. In fact, private sector development fitting into the newly created small and medium enterprise industries is the way to go, is the way forward. How do we do this private sector development? We know that policymakers can only plant a seed, but the firms, the businesses, must grow it. And we are on the growth sector, responding to the policies that the government has planned. Because from there, then we grow through trading. Private sector development, introduce products that are tradable. And why are we in oil marketing? Purely to trade, to create more jobs, employment.
Their advice is that Zambian companies must not fight battles with each other by making false allegations in order to discredit the reputation of one's company, but rather think of how to contribute in transforming this country.
It is unthinkable that in a very small market we should get at each other's throats. Should never be the case. Competition will help us to bring the prices down. I don't want to go into basic economics here. Now, we don't want a monopoly. We have an objective to contribute basically to the development of the economy of Zambia. And this we are doing in earnest. We have already invested in electricity production, for example.
The company, which has the potential to produce over 10,000 liters of ethanol a day using local produced materials such as cassava and maize, is challenging farmers to grow more maize and cassava, as this is one way of creating jobs.
Third thing, what we are doing very important is we have come up with CPU and evaporation system, whereby the molasses, which is waste after manufacturing ethanol, we are converting it into organic fertilizer. Now at present, the fertilizer is imported at $600–700 per ton, and we will introduce that in the market at $200, so that our farmers will be able to have access to fertilizer at a cheaper rate as compared to the imported one. And this will help all my Zambian brothers who are interested in farming to increase their land area of farming and grow more and more output of maize, cassava, wheat, everything.
Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
Minister of Health Indoor Residue Spraying Manager Evans Mwango has revealed that they will this week train 372 spray operators and 118 supervisors on how to spray malaria chemicals in Lusaka with an estimated target of 385,000 households. In an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Mwango says the project is meant to curb cases of malaria in the country by December 2021.
Indoor residue spraying activities are conducted annually in Zambia to support malaria control activities. These activities regularly include district-level planning and budgeting for targeted areas, assessment of spray structures, training of spray teams, and supervision. An indoor residue spraying manager, Evans Mwango, has revealed that they will this week train 372 spray operators and 118 supervisors on how to spray malaria chemicals in Lusaka with an estimated target of 385,000 households.
We shall be having IRS activity very soon within this month. We are targeting to spray 385,000 households within Lusaka district. Yeah, as you may be aware, we are in 2021. We are likely to we were supposed to eliminate malaria by 2021 December, but I can safely say that we are heading somewhere in terms of eliminating local malaria cases. Yes.
Mr. Mwango adds that in order for Zambia to completely eradicate malaria, members of the public must desist from misusing mosquito nets for personal gains such as fishing.
Let's not use the mosquito nets for fishing or any other business apart from using it for sleeping during the night. Yeah. The other thing that is happening is that health promotion is helping us in terms of disseminating information on the use of mosquito nets within our communities. I know that there are people that are using mosquito nets to cover their fruit trees. Some are using it to cover their latrines, which is very wrong. We are encouraging them to use specifically for its intended purpose.
The goal for this elimination strategy is to attain operational coverage of over 90% of eligible structures, benefiting up to 80% of the population of Zambia in timely manner according to transmission season. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
We take our second set of commercials. Coming next is international and sports news.
Would you like to win some cool cash? Say no more. Stand a chance to win your share of 1 million kwacha. Simply make a transaction from your Zamtel mobile money account and you could be one of weekly winners of up to 10,000 kwacha. Be empowered with Zamtel mobile money. Dial *344# to activate your account. This promotion runs from 28th July to 31st October 2021. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
At Savenda Express Printing, we have the capacity to deliver quality in all kinds of printing services timely. Our lines of production include screen printing, embroidery, lithography, and large format printing. We take pride in delivering quality work at very competitive rates with our in-house, highly experienced and qualified designers. With the ability to print full color and embossing prints, our state-of-the-art screen printing machines are able to print 1,000 pieces per hour. Our embroidery machines are able to print any logo with 1 or up to 12 colors all at once and has an output capacity of 100 pieces per hour. Savenda Express Printing also does large format printing for billboards, banners, vinyl, car stickers, posters, tire covers, cups, pens, bags, flasks, packaging boxes, and well, just anything that can need printing. For inquiries, give us a call on 0960 344 471.
Tonight on National Matters, join Pastor Moses Chiluba as he hosts the EPP leader, Mr. Chilufya Tayali.
Let us be reasonable. You can be courageous, but speak sense. Speak what is practical, other than, talking things that cannot happen. Who are you entertaining?
Invite others to participate through phoning on Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp, and text messages. Make a date with us. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Are you a small to medium enterprise looking to advertise your products and services within your community and across Zambia? In these economic times, we are here to help you grow your business. Advertise with us on Camnet Market. Camnet Market is offering lower rates for prime time advertising between 06 to 18 hours every day to give your business an edge under the new normal and beyond. For more details, contact us on the following numbers: 097 975 3010 or 096 296 5883, as well as 096 244 726. You can also reach us via email on info@camnettvafrica.com. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. Now getting into our international item. The murder trial of Thomas Sankara, Burkina Faso's iconic father of the revolution, is due to open on Monday, 34 years after his assassination. 14 people, including the country's ex-president, Blaise Compaoré, will stand trial. Meanwhile, Tunisia's President Kais Saied on Monday appointed a new government by decree 11 weeks after he fired the last one. Saied sacked the Prime Minister, suspended Parliament, and granted himself judicial powers in a July 25 power grab that opponents have termed as coup. Here's a roundup of international news.
Thomas Sankara was born in 1949 in the rural north of what was then known as Upper Volta, a landlocked French colony. After undergoing military training abroad, Sankara was swept to power in a military coup led by his close friend Blaise Compaoré in 1983. He led an austere lifestyle, shunning luxury, moving into a run-down presidential palace with his family and reducing his own salary. Under his rule, Upper Volta was renamed Burkina Faso, meaning the land of honest men. During his 4 years as president, Sankara oversaw a series of reforms that saw the literacy rate rocket from 13% to 73%. He seized land from feudal landlords and gave it directly to poor farmers, boosting wheat production. But it was perhaps his actions on the world stage that earned him the nickname Africa's Che Guevara, lending him an iconic aura 34 years after his death. At the UN, Sankara spoke out against what he called imperialist wars and apartheid. He called on African nations to refuse to pay their debt to Western countries. And he challenged France, which had retained huge influence in many of its former colonies. But his critics say he repressed the opposition to maintain his stranglehold on power. Amnesty International alleges that political opponents were detained without trial and tortured. After only 4 years in power, Sankara was gunned down by soldiers during a coup, which left his friend Blaise Compaoré alone in power.
A new government cabinet is back in Tunisia. President Kais Saied on Monday appointed the government cabinet by decree 11 weeks after he fired the last one. The new government is headed by Najla Boudin, the North African country's first ever female prime minister. Its announcement comes a day after at least 6,000 people demonstrated in central Tunis against President Said's sacking of the prime minister and the suspension of parliament. The Prime Minister was assigned, making her the first female premier in Tunisia and among the Arab countries.
وهذا شرف للمرأة التونسية والمرأة في تونس ليست مسحوقا.
This is an honor for the Tunisian women who are not some beauty products that make institutions or parliamentary institutions look prettier. We are not under anyone's mandate, but as the Constitution stipulates, a government, it was formed, and its formation was faster than the opponent, had expected. Prime Minister Najla Boudin, appointed by Said last month, said the government's main priority would be tackling corruption, but though Tunisia faces a looming fiscal crisis, she did not mention any program of economic reforms.
We now get into your sports item. The Zambia Under-20 women's national team is through to the third round of the ongoing 2020 Costa Rica FIFA Women's World Cup after a 2-1 win against Malawi. Despite the win, head coach Charles Halubono admitted the team struggled and found it difficult to find the back on the net in their away fixture. Zamfoot reports that coach Halubono went on to say proper preparations are needed in the next round of the qualifiers and more players must be included in the squad. The young Copper Queens will be facing the Black Princesses of Ghana in the third round. The young Lasers beat the young Scorchers 6-0 at Nkoloma Stadium before urging them 2-1 away in a long way to record an impressive 8-1 aggregate. The sports item brings us to the end of the news. Here is our headlines. Value addition prompts a Zambian firm to start extracting oil from maize. Green Party asks President HH to pardon prisoners facing cannabis-related offences. Government urged to invest 1 billion kwacha in road safety. And in international news, Thomas Sankara murder trial fundamental to come to terms with what happened. And in sports, Zambia Under-20 women's coach targets FIFA Women's World Cup qualification. Before we go, here's our Camnet verse of the day, and it's coming from the book of Psalms 121 verse 1 to 3, and it reads, I lift my eyes towards the mountain. Where will my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. He will not allow your foot to sleep. Your protector will not slumber. Thank you for joining me. I am Precious Mzea Asakaleji. Coming next is National Matters. Please unview.